Thursday, the 3rd of October, 8 PM kickoff, Chelsea host KAA Gent at Stamford Bridge in matchday 1 of the UEFA Conference League. Chelsea are currently unbeaten in their last 5 Premier League games, and Gent currently sit 3rd in the Belgian League. This is matchday 1 of the UEFA Conference League at Stamford Bridge, and we need to prove a point. If Chelsea really want to go far in the UEFA Conference League this season, then we need to hit the ground running and get a result against Gent. So in this video, I'm going to be going over my predicted starting 11 for Chelsea versus Gent, and I'm going to be selecting people based on who I think Enzo Marasca will select, alongside giving my thoughts and opinions who I think will get game time. Let's get into this predicted 11. Starting off with the goalkeeper, I have chosen Jorgensen. Now, Jorgensen is Chelsea's cup competition goalkeeper, the second string to Robert Sanchez currently, and I think I can speak for all Chelsea fans when we say we can't wait to see Jorgensen in the net after that Robert Sanchez performance against Brighton. It was not great. Yes, Robert Sanchez did make some good saves, but he also made some horrendous errors. And I do feel like Jorgensen will grow into that role and maybe push Robert Sanchez for that number 1 position further on down the season. But he's played in the Conference League already against Servette in the qualifying stages. He plays in the cup games. And I really like Jorgensen's distribution and his comfortability on the ball. Hopefully he doesn't make any mistakes and we can keep a clean sheet at home against Gent. That would be the dream. Moving on to left back, I have chosen Vega. This guy is solid. This guy is class. I love seeing this guy play for Chelsea. He is already super passionate about playing for Chelsea Football Club, and he gives every fan Rudiger vibes. I have to say, he gives me Rudiger vibes. So many people online say the similar thing. He is so comfortable at left back. He can invert into the midfield very comfortably. He's solid defensively, he's great on the ball, and his passing is exceptional. So Vega has to start for me at left back. Moving on to left centre-back, I have chosen Benoit Badiashile. He is our second string left-footed centre-back. And again, he's going to be played in the Conference League, in the cup competitions. Levi Colwill will more than likely be rested for the Premier League. And I really like the fact that we have such good squad depth that we can have a squad A and squad B. Let's just hope that Badiashile can keep a consistent game, keep his head down, work hard, and not give any silly mistakes away. If we're not going to have Sanchez in net to make mistakes, let's make sure that Badiashile doesn't do the same. Moving on to right centre-back, I have chosen Tosin. I really like Tosin, and I was surprised that he didn't start against Brighton at the weekend. I understand that Enzo Marasca likes the pairing of Fofana and Colwill. That's cool. I'm more than happy with that. I feel like that partnership is going to grow over time. Fofana is kind of hit and miss, but he does a lot of good things during a game that kind of warrants him being in that first team. Tosin, however, has just been consistently solid since he's put on a Chelsea shirt. Great in the air, great with the ball at his feet. He's not scared to pick the ball up at centre-back and drive forward, whether he's going past players or trying to make line-breaking passes. Just a big fan of Tosin, especially on a free transfer. Moving on to right-back, I've chosen Malo Gusto. Now, Malo Gusto is our first choice right-back. Granted, and I feel like he played very well against Brighton. He then had 45 minutes against Barrow as more like a fitness test, and I feel like it could be a very similar thing against Gent on Thursday, where we see Malo Gusto start, get some match minutes. Hopefully we can, go 1-2-0 up, control the game, and then potentially in the second half he gets brought off and Disasi goes right back. That could be an option, but I feel like you have to start a traditional right back at the start of the game. Like, it makes more sense. If Malo Gusto is available, he has to play, surely. And with no signs of Reece James coming back from injury, it's either play Malo Gusto right back or Disasi, and there's just no competition there. Moving on to the left side of that double pivot, I have chosen Moises Caicedo. Now, Moises Caicedo is an incredible DM, and I would honestly say he is the best DM in the league right now. Rodri's out injured and Rice is great, but I feel like Caicedo is just outperforming him. Not to put in a direct comparison, that's just my opinion. I really like Caicedo at the moment. He can't do any wrong. And I know he's in our Premier League squad and he's our first team, one of the first names on the team sheet, especially in that number 6 role. But either Enzo Fernandez or Moises Caicedo will be dropped for these types of games. And I honestly feel like we're going to need some defensive stability in there. And I feel like Moises Caicedo has the legs and the engine to play these midweek games and the weekend. So I'm going with Moises Caicedo. And to partner him on the right side of that double pivot, I have chosen Romeo Lavia. I think Romeo Lavia is a baller, and I love it when he plays for Chelsea. He got some cameo minutes against Brighton, slotted comfortably into that team and played well. He's recently been injured. Brighton was kind of like his recovery game where he got some minutes to make sure he wasn't overdoing it, doing too much. But I feel like the game against Gent at home will be a perfect opportunity for Lavia to get more minutes and see how well he's overcome his injury. The beautiful thing about our squad depth is if Lavia needs to be pulled off for minutes, we can play someone like Enzo Fernandez to come in off the bench. And yeah, I think Romeo Lavia must start. If he's not going to be in that Premier League side and he's coming back to fitness, then he's got to play in the Conference League games and the Cup games. Moving on to left wing, I have chosen Mykhailo Mudryk. Again, Jadon Sancho, number 1 left wing spot. Holding it down. 3 assists in 3 games. You can't argue that. You can't deny how good he has been in a Chelsea shirt. So unfortunately, that means Mykhailo Mudryk is second string. He played a good game against Barrow. He got some minutes against Brighton. It's pretty underwhelming. Not his fault specifically. The game changed when he came on and on the other substitutes, and the ball wasn't really played down that left-hand side. But I feel like the Conference League is where he can light up and really showcase what he's made of, what he's capable of, and he can basically show Marasca, I'm knocking on the door to take Jadon Sancho's position in the Premier League. So Mykhailo Mudryk, left wing. Moving on to that number 10 position, I've chosen João Felix. It is baffling to me how João Felix is living on the bench and picking up barely any minutes, but is playing the cup games and will be playing the Conference League games. He is such a good player. I know that he knows what he signed up for. He took a wage cut to come to Chelsea. He's loved by the fans. He's one of my favourite players. I think he's absolutely world class. So it would just be nice to see him getting some game time. Obviously, he's not going to dethrone Cole Palmer. That's not what I'm saying. But when you deep it, it's just crazy that João Felix sits on the bench. Like, he's such a good player. So I'm hoping against Gent at Stamford Bridge, European game night, under the lights at the bridge, João Felix can light the place up even more and showcase his talents. Moving on to the right wing, I have chosen Pedro Neto. Now, it's between Pedro Neto and Noni Madueke for them right wing positions. Enzo Marasca has made that abundantly clear that it's those two for that position. We may see Tyreek George involved in the squad, and he may get some minutes. But in terms of starting the game, I am going with Pedro Neto purely because Enzo Marasca loves Noni Madueke. He's pretty much started every Premier League game, I believe. So Pedro Neto has to get minutes. Yes, he's been coming on for Noni Madueke during the Premier League games, but I feel like Pedro needs to start. Like, he just needs to. I think he's a lot more effective on that right-hand side when he's starting the game. So be very interesting to see how he performs again against Gent at home, European night under the lights. It just does things for Chelsea players and playing at Stamford Bridge under the lights. Pedro Neto right wing, maybe see some minutes for Tyreek George. And that leaves the number 9. Who will lead the line for Chelsea against Gent Thursday night in the Europa Conference League? I have selected Christopher Nkunku. And again, going back to what I said about Felix, I feel the same about Nkunku. It is wild to me that Christopher Nkunku is living on the bench. He is such a talent. And again, I fully back Jackson. He's been performing very, very well. Whether it's goals, whether it's assists, whether it's link-up play, the way he connects the transitions and brings us up the field. It's just wild to me that Nkunku and Felix are on the bench and they're always at our disposal. So I feel like with Cup games and the Conference League games, you're really going to see Nkunku come out, shine, and showcase what he's made of. Because in all honesty, he should be getting on the score sheet. He should be just having fun out there with players like João Felix when you're coming up against teams like Gent. And there's no disrespect to them, but they are just considered lesser opposition to a club like Chelsea. And I feel like with our squad depth and who we've got available, it's just crazy that we can have a first string striker as Nicholas Jackson and then Cole Palmer just behind, and then the second string is Christopher Nkunku as a 9 and João Felix as the 10. Like, it's wild. But I'd love to see Christopher Nkunku get majority, if not all the minutes against Gent. And that's not to say we won't see Mark Guiu. I really want to see him play in the Conference League a bit more and get a few more minutes, build his confidence. But I genuinely feel like it will be a Christopher Nkunku start for most of the game, if not all of the game. And if we are going to bring someone on, I hope we bring on Mark Guiu for more minutes, but we could probably see Jackson for the last 15, 20 minutes. So that is my predicted 11 for Chelsea versus Gent Thursday night, 8 p.m. kickoff in match day 1 of the Europa Conference League. Do you agree with this lineup, or would you play different players in different positions? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love having a conversation with you guys. I want to say thank you so much for all the love and support on the channel recently. You guys are incredible. I love just talking to you guys about our club. Also, let me know your score predictions in the comments. It'd be interesting to know your thoughts about who should play and your score predictions for the Thursday night game against Gent. I will be doing a live watch along for the Chelsea-Gent game on my TikTok, and the link to my TikTok is in the description, so feel free to check that out. And if you are new around here, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and turn on the notification bell to make sure you get notified every single time I upload a video talking Chelsea. And at this point of the video, a thumbnail appears on the screen. Make sure you click it, because if you enjoy Chelsea content, you will enjoy that video.